Go ahead. Yep.
Awesome. So thank you all for joining us here today and for everyone here at 10th Annual New York City Web Fest. So we just saw, yes. We just saw an amazing block of films about love, relationships, friendships, and all the heart-wrenching things. So I'm curious to know, well, I guess before we start, each of you introduce yourself and what project you were a part of.
Hey, I'm Lisa Jill Anderson, and I was part of Legit Married.
Hi, I'm Jessica W. Chen. I'm the creator and writer and also acted in Drama High.
Hi, I'm Jun Winter, and I was in Love Undone.
Awesome. So I know that Legit Married and Drama High are pilots, right? So I guess tell us about how this idea came about for your specific project and what made you want to put it together. Anyone can start here.
I originally shot that web series version of the pilot when I was doing my master's in writing and producing for television. So it was like in the first semester we had a web series class and we had to make like a web series pilot. And for that one, they had told us to first study one first, and I studied a web series called Video Game High School. And when I was like watching it, I was like, well, I don't know enough about video games to write a show about more video games. So I decided to just kind of take my lifetime viewing of like K-dramas and Japanese dramas, Taiwanese dramas, all these Asian dramas to make Drama High about a girl who, you know, she figures out the cheat code to high school. She realizes the high school operates as if everyone is like a trope in an Asian drama, if that makes sense. So her like Asian drama viewing becomes her superpower, and that's kind of how that came about.
Yes, and that line at the end was hilarious. So, I'm in Asia.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, what's happening? Yeah, there are hot boys everywhere who are super mean.
So I come along with my creative partners, Stephen Brown and Essen Ali, from mostly a theater background, and during the pandemic that was like completely obsolete. So also at that time, Essen was going through the immigration system. He comes from Pakistan, and we were just thinking about how we could use kind of this time to write something. We decided to write a web pilot because we felt like that might be more possible to like produce in that time frame where theater was non-existent. So we were interested in exploring kind of two themes, like systems that set you up to fail. So in our case, like immigration and marriage, and Essen kind of coming off the tail end of all of that was like, let's turn my real life pain into kind of this comedy series. So that's how that came about. Yeah.
Wow. And then June, I know you acted in Love Undone. Like, what can you tell us about that specific project and I guess everyone who was involved in putting it together?
Well, that was actually the second season. It was a bit harder, I think, this time around, just because everyone was just so spread apart, and I hadn't worked with anybody in the cast in the second season than I did in the first, so it was just getting to know everyone better and kind of like land in the marks that we kind of wanted to land to show some kind of, you know, emotional pull. So.
Okay, so what can you tell us about, so this specific episode is which episode in the season?
So it is episode 4 in the season, and this is when his mom calls him and tells him that actually the child was his, and she aborted it because it was his. So I guess it was just a slap in the face, and he's just super down on himself. And I think like a lot of people, like, you know, young African American people, it's when you're caught in the system, I think it's tough to kind of get out of, and you know, with family dynamics, I think it's interesting to see. So I guess that's what we were trying to show in this episode.
Okay, that's awesome, because from the episode that we saw, it seemed like there were a lot of different stories, and I'm guessing that they all connect in some way. Right.
It's so many stories. It's hard to keep up with, but yeah, they're all connected. Like my mom is in the beginning, and that's her ex-husband who's having the argument with his siblings. So it's just a big like
big
gumbo of drama, I think.
Awesome. So I guess for Legit Married and Drama High, like, where do you see the series continuing, or what do you have plans to expand on it more? If you could tell us.
I guess it was a year ago now. Essen and I had applied for the ATX TV Festival Pitch Competition program, so we got to have like a year of mentorship where we developed the pitch for the series and kind of have a loose arc of seasons 1 through 5. So we're in the process of, it was like on hold for a little bit because of the WGA strike, but we're in the process of taking some general meetings and pitching the kind of TV series version of that, which is mostly what we focused on. And we're hoping to be able to finish our web series at some point. We have like 4 episodes ready to go, and we're kind of waiting to figure out if funding is coming through for that, because that's always the thing of like figuring out after you self-produce where the rest of the investment is coming from. So yeah.
Absolutely, we all know that's a short.
So real.
I guess for me, like, I think I rewrote the web series version as like a full-on like TV pilot that's like 40 some pages, and so I've been trying to slowly refine that one. And like I do have like a director that I want to work with, and then have like a pitch deck, and now I need to figure out like after I get to a point that I think is good, like how I can begin to pitch it, because I do think that even though I wrote it back in 2020 and shot it in 2020, I do think like, yeah, I still think it's pretty topical and hope people still have fun watching it. And would be interested in seeing like an expanded universe version of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know that one of the challenges always with putting together projects is budgeting, is putting a team together. But I'm curious to know, for each of the projects that you were involved in, what is one challenge that you faced while you were working, but that you were able to overcome? If you can share.
I think initially we envisioned having many more locations, and we knew that we just weren't going to be able to do that realistically with an extremely small crew and kind of like end of pandemic shooting. So just paring down our original vision to be able to do things in basically 3 spots with like only 4 people in the room. So and then you kind of realize how much you can do with a small group of dedicated people, which is really nice.
Right, and I mean, coming from the theater background, like, for me personally, one of the things I love about theater is not necessarily like the big Broadway productions. I actually love the very bare bones theater, because I feel like you have to be super creative to create this world that the audience can connect to and understand what's going on. And I definitely kind of saw those elements there, because there was a lot happening in these scenes, and through the dialogue and just the movement and through the apartment and everything that was happening, you can kind of tell the complexity of the situation that the two of you were facing, even though it was a small setting or a small location. So that definitely translated in your film.
Thanks so much.
I think for me, like, it made me think back, because I we shot it in September 2020, so of course the first big thing was the whole COVID situation happening. But I also remember there was like, we shot the entire thing in 2 days, and so which is a lot, especially with all different locations. And I remember that one location being the school, which was the school I did my master's at, LIU. And so like, because when you're during COVID, we had to apply for like the rooms and stuff, and it took a really long time to actually get the reservations in, and also allow for outside people to come in, because they before were restricting it to just like school personnel and students and stuff because of COVID. And so I remember when it came down to the first day of shooting, we actually hadn't gotten the rooms yet, and like all the rooms we wanted, and so like,
and the team is ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was actually a lot, like, even beyond the writing, I also was like one of the executive producers, so I was also kind of in charge of like the schedule and stuff, and I made the executive decision to flip the schedule to the other day first. And so we had to like call everyone and be like, is it okay, are you free the next day, can you like flip flop and stuff. So we didn't end up doing all the school stuff the second day, and all the outdoor stuff, everything else in the house, everything the first day. So that was like a big like scary moment. Yeah.
Wow. I think for me I was really sick when we were shooting that.
Oh,
so yeah,
wow.
For me it was like just keeping the energy to kind of like
Anger is hard.
Yeah, it's hard to like bark somebody for like
I'm done.
yeah. So I think it was really just like kind of just pacing myself and like relaxing when I need to, and then like going crazy when I need to, and it was just kind of just getting out of my head and like not thinking I was doing a bad job because I was just the lack of energy that was there sometimes. So it's just really head games with me, you know?
No, I think you did great. I mean, if you didn't tell us you were sick, I would have never.
Oh
like,
yeah, there was behind the scenes. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh man. Well, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or anything that anybody felt or want to share about the films that they just watched. Any questions? Judy?
So back for like Drama High, are there gonna be more like interaction between like Hade and the young lady?
Yeah.
Are they gonna have a love interest situation?
Yeah,
Now
I mean,
everybody starts hating each other and then they fall in love.
yeah, it's definitely one of those like enemies to lovers type of thing where there's like a love triangle involved, and it's like if you've ever seen there's like a Japanese manga that was made into like different dramas all over, because they keep remaking it over and over in different countries, but there's like a Korean drama called like Boys Over Flowers, and it's like Japanese title is like Hanayori Dango. That one's like the big main influence, and so like that one, Hideo is like the really mean bully type person who she at first has the strange chemistry, but also they hate each other, and then the other guy, Jiwon, played by the lovely young Mizuno, we're very happy he's doing well in Beef, like is like the seemingly nice guy, but there's like something not fully there for that relationship, and so it's like setting that up, but also in the context of she starts out poorer than them, and so part of her trying to hack the system is using the tropes to like maybe kind of make Hideo fall in love with her so she can move up the social ladder. So there's also like a slightly anti-hero aspect to it. It's not just like a straight up love story. Some of it's like manipulation.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, I hope that answered your question. But that's like in my head.
Any other questions?
I'll ask another one. So I have one for both of you guys. For Love Undone, so are they gonna show like because they talked about Barbara who passed away, is that gonna, with the story, are we gonna ever find out how she gets, how she's responsible for like everybody coming together? Is she like?
Wow, so you know what? Maybe in the upcoming seasons there's nothing that I know personally.
Oh, okay, yes.
But no, that's a great question. I'll have to ask Joseph that.
Is there more?
So, not that I know of. He hinted at there being a season 3, but I guess we'll just have to see.
And I do have a question as far as the legit marriage. So, is that something? You said that this was something that was kind of realistic that had happened. Do you know someone who's done that?
We do, yeah. All of my creative partners' family have immigrated from Pakistan from very different paths, from student visa, work visa, marriage, all of the things. So we had a lot of stories to pull from.
And it was successful?
It is now,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
But also like the artist visa is like super hard to do anyway. Like,
Yes,
even
really,
if
really
that was
hard.
so-
Yep. Yeah.
So I
You have
guess.
to get kind of like a company to do it.
So can you tell us about if this is your only project that you have out, or if you have other works or anything that's on the horizon?
Yeah, Essen and I actually just closed an off-Broadway production called Friends with Amenities, which was also a story about a green card marriage. So kind of the play version that we had maybe set out to make. So that just closed at 5090s 59, and we're gonna be touring that in Philadelphia and LA next season, so a while ago. And then I also just co-created a web series called Build and Betty Build a Pyramid that's set in the 70s. It's about a pyramid scheme where people start cloning each other to like build their downlines.
Oh.
So that's, yeah, that's next. It'll start circulating, yeah.
I hope we see it
Wow.
next
Yeah.
year.
Thanks.
I want to see that.
Oh, so
Yeah, anything that you have or, you know, projects that you're working on.
Well, I have like a full web series that's out on YouTube. If you want to look it up, it's called Please Help. That one, I think, it's like a kind of like the office. It's kind of like an office-like mockumentary, but based on real life things that happened. Where I was working at a small entertainment company, and the 4 of us writers were told suddenly to become YouTube personalities. And so our company gave us this like deadline of a month to get 5,000 subscribers. And so I was like, we're getting free reign to all this equipment. Let's make this no budget web series about this particular topic, but in a mockumentary type of style as like our resume essentially. So you can show what people can do with limited equipment and time and stuff. We shot 8 episodes if you want to look it up. So there's that. And on top of that, I like always am writing pilots and things and trying to get better as like a writer. So recently I had one of the pilots that I wrote get chosen for like the Stowe Story Labs, and so I'm also trying to rewrite that, and also I'm writing a pilot and also a feature with my writing partner, and hopefully we want to shoot a scene from that feature that I will direct. So we'll see how that will go. Because I also really enjoy behind the scenes stuff, and in addition to writing and acting.
That's awesome. And then just one more time, just to tell us about the YouTube. Where do you find it?
You can look up, if you like YouTube search Please Help Pilot, you'll probably find the first one, and then there's like the rest of them in like a playlist that you can find.
Okay.
Yeah. And that one's really fun.
So I've got we just premiered a movie yesterday at the Florence Hall. I think that's on East 59th, I believe, called The Bird and the 9 Lives. I play a character named Mikey, and we premiered another movie called Nico, where I play a dirty detective. Those will both be streaming soon on various platforms, I believe Prime and Tubi. And I have one more project coming out next year called The Final Level. Sorry, to think back, we shot that like a year or 2 ago.
Wow.
Where it's a video game movie, kind of like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, where I play a really interesting character. So be sure to look out for those. But that's all I got going on right now.
That's awesome. And I believe we are going to get ready for a workshop in the next segment. So just stick around, and later on we have one more block of films followed by our award ceremony.